Hey everybody, it's me, Stacey. Oh, I think I'm going to tilt this up just a wee bit. I don't know that that made any difference. It's me, Stacey. It's Scrapbooking Made Simple, and it is time for Saturday with Stacey, YouTube number 220. It has been a week. I will not deny it has been a week. My mom passed away last Sunday. I have not processed it at all. I'm in go mode. There's so much that has to be done, and I just have not even sat down to really comprehend what it means yet. I'm sure that time will come, but I am here doing the YouTube because I know that's what my mom and dad would want. So we've got a wonderful YouTube for you today. But I also was at a service, a celebration mass this morning for a very good customer, more of a friend, anything. She was my friend. And so it has been kind of a poopy week. I just don't know any other way to say it. Just an icky week. And I'm hoping that today's YouTube will not only lighten you, but will lighten me up a little bit. I had these wonderful customers come in today from New Mexico. And for any of you who have ever come to the store, I really am. What you see is what you get. I tend to be very perky and bubbly, and I talk a lot. And they came in today from New Mexico, and I just was not me. I had just come back from the service, and with my mom passing away, and they were so understanding and so kind. And the more we talked, the more I felt like me again. So I think by doing this YouTube, I will feel a little bit more like me again. And right now, I need that. So you're gonna will me through this, and we're gonna do it together. I've got winter chicken dinner to talk about. So the service, I don't have my apron on. It's probably one of the first times I've ever not worn my SMS apron for a YouTube. But Karen's celebration mask, Karen loved Disneyland. I mean, she and I like this, okay, about Disneyland. And they had lots of pictures, you know, on the screen, a slideshow, and almost all of them were of Disneyland. And I had never been to a mass before. I'm not Catholic. And so I didn't know what the appropriate dress was. But then I thought about my friend Karen. And I thought, well, God loves everybody, so I'm going to wear my Disney sweatshirt to the mass. And I did, because I didn't wear the hood up. But I thought this just meant Karen, that she would know my heart was with her. And so I know it probably wasn't the most appropriate thing to wear to a mass, but really it made her heart happy to think about Disneyland and go to Disneyland, and it was my way of sending her off. So Lori and Corey, I love you very much. I hope it was okay to wear my Disney jacket. Now, we have got winter chicken dinner to talk about, and these winners are from YouTube number 218. When I did YouTube 219, I did it a little bit early, and I didn't have the winners yet. So this is from 218. So if you hear your name, it's from 218. 219 was our anniversary sale, and I was not here for the anniversary sale. And thank you everybody for understanding why I couldn't be here. The anniversary sale was last Saturday, and my mom passed away Sunday night. I needed to be at home with my mom, singing Barbra Streisand and Phantom of the Opera and talking, and even though she couldn't talk back all the time, I know she was listening to every word, and she was saying, "Man, you were out of tune." That's okay. It's all good. So for those of you who showed up to the anniversary sale, thank you for understanding why I couldn't be here. But let's get to winter chicken dinner. And the winners from the anniversary sale, 100 winners from the anniversary sale YouTube, are going to be announced at a later date. I have all those comments to approve. Right now it's about 1,600 of them. So I can't pick winners. I can't have our software pick winners until I approve them all, and there just hasn't been enough time this week for me to get to it. So stay tuned. I do a YouTube just announcing the winners because it takes me a half an hour, and if you want to laugh, Well, it's a good laugh because I can't pronounce most of your names, but that's okay. You're a winner, winner, chicken dinner, and you forgive me. But from 218, we have 2 winners. We have Patricia Borden. Hello, Patricia Borden. How are you doing today? I hope your day was better than mine. Truly, I do. Well, it is right now because you just found out you're a winner, winner, chicken dinner at Scrapbooking Made Simple. And hopefully that added a little light to your life today. Patricia Borden, what did you win? Well, you've won some of the Stampendous background stamp and heat resistant acetate. There's a whole prize package coming your way, but you are not alone. Who else is one of your winner, winner, chicken dinners? Therese Hudrin. Therese Hudrin, congratulations. You too are a winner, winner, chicken dinner here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. And maybe you're doing a little bit of a happy dance, or maybe you're rewinding me because you can't believe I actually said your name, but I did. Really, it's you. How do you girls claim your prize? Go to scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Look for the link that says winner, winner, chicken dinner. Click it, follow the directions, and just as soon as we're able, a wonderful prize will be in the mail to you. Again, anniversary sale winners, 100 of you. Prizes from $15 up to $200. And what you get is what you get. It's just randomly done. So hopefully when you get your happy mail in the mail after I announce the winners, you indeed will be happy. But I know right now, Therese and Patricia, they're happy because they've got a wonderful little prize package coming their way. Now, back to Spellbinders. I'm working with their stamps. I'm going to keep it pretty easy peasy, mainly for me, because if I did something too technique-y for you today, I don't think that I would be present enough to actually explain it in the level that I feel it should be done. My brain is just kind of, I'm trying to focus. But I know my limitations. So I'm going to be working at, like I said, watercolor pencils, distress markers, clean color, memento, and Spellbinders stamps. So you may have seen some of this before. You may not have seen some of this before. But hang with me anyway. It'll be a fun few. Well, it won't be an hour. Well, it could be an hour. I should never say how long it's going to be because I just never know. But we're going to get started. I'm going to tilt on down. I'm going to say thank you to all of you who have sent kind well wishes and prayers and thoughts and flowers, and I don't want to tear up for my mom. Like I said, I'm in go mode right now, and it has not sunk in. And I think when it does, I'm just gonna stay home and just have that moment, or 2 or 3. But for now, I'm gonna try and lighten my mood and lighten your mood and show you something wonderful. All right, we're gonna tilt on down and we're gonna get started for today. Down we go. And I'm gonna zoom on in. I feel weird with no apron on, but you can't wear an SMS apron to a service, although I did wear a Disney sweatshirt. All right, so this is the make and take that's going on downstairs right now, and this is using Spellbinders stamps. Spellbinders. Most everybody knows Spellbinders for, I'm gonna slide this on over, for their dies, not their stamps. And they've been out for a few years, maybe a year and a half. And when they first came out, I wasn't so sure. I didn't understand them because of the packaging. Now we did this one, but I also want to show it to you in another color. So everybody downstairs is having a good time making one of these cards. And I guess what confused me about the stamps is what they said. And it said 3D. And I didn't understand what 3D meant. And several of them, almost all of them, say, I think all of them do say 3D. So when I think of 3D, this is a lighthouse. When I think of 3D, I think of dimensional. 3D. And so customers would come in and they would ask, well, Stacey, how do you make this 3D? You know, does it pop? Is there dies? What do you do? Do you layer it? How do you do it? And the 3D element really had nothing to do with popping it or layering it or die cutting it, but it had everything to do with how the rubber is etched. Spellbinders, sorry about that. Spellbinders stamps are a cling on rubber. So these are etched stamps, which means that when the mold is made, somebody goes in there and etches the rubber to make the mold. And red rubber stamps or white rubber or purple rubber, rubber stamps always give you a beautiful etched image, which is what you get here. But I still said, I don't understand the 3D. Well, the 3D came in when they did the shading on the stamps. The shading on the stamps. So some of the stamp is etched deeper to give you a highlight, and some of it is not etched much at all to give you a shadow, thereby giving you a three-dimensional look. I didn't get that at first, and so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. But before I start with that, I'm going to start with just some basics in markers. Just some basics of things I want to show you real quick. These are watercolor pencils. Watercolor pencils. We sell them. I think they're $13.99 for a pack of 24. Are they the best quality on the market? No. Do they work? Yes. Can you buy more expensive? Absolutely. Do you have to buy more expensive? If this is what you're using it for, crafting, probably not. But I wanted to put out, we've always carried the brand because it's a wonderful brand of pencils. You get 24 colors at a very, very reasonable price. But people they don't fully understand what a watercolor pencil is. So just quickly, I'm gonna scribble. And I've got my yellow here because I love yellow. It's what I usually start with. And I'm just gonna scribble. So nothing too prettier. It doesn't even look like good coloring. But then I'm gonna take my orange watercolor pencil and I'm just gonna do just a couple lines. Very little. Then I'm gonna take my pink. And I'm gonna get my pink in there. So can you use these to just color in? Absolutely. But that's not what they're really meant to do. What they're meant to do is move with water. So I've got my little water over here, dip in my brush, and I'm going to start with my yellow. And I'm just going to add my water. And what's going to happen is that those pencils that were leaving those lines, it's going to dissolve into a paint. And it's going to make the most beautiful colors of yellow. And because they move with water, I'm able to pull them out and move them. So I'm making a paint out of that pencil. Then I can take my orange and move that orange right into that yellow. And just blend those two together. Can you see how I've taken pencil markings, added a little bit of water, and now my pink. And I can just blend that pink into the orange, into the yellow. And make a beautiful sunset, sunrise. And they just blend into each other so lovely with just a little bit of water and not a whole heck of a lot of talent. Truly. That's what watercolor pencils do. They're easy to use. So anything you're coloring, if you just wanted to make a whole bunch of colors back here and blend them all together and then die cut flowers out of it so that they all are a little different, you can. If you have a stamped image and you have an open stamp and you want to color it like flowers, you can. Let's add a little bit of purple. You can do those things. Watercolor pencils are unbelievably user-friendly. And the color will just blend into each other. So now I've thrown a little purple in there. So there's not a strong demarcation line where one color stopped and one color started. They just kind of blend right into each other. And the more water you use, the more they will blend out. The less water you use, the more intense they will be. But to get a piece of paper and some watercolor pencils and just play. Just play. Because being that they're so inexpensive, they give you an opportunity to try. So those are watercolor pencils. Then I have a bunch of different markers. I have everything from Tim Holtz Distress markers to clean color markers to memento markers. So what markers do you have? Because they're all going to be used one way, exactly the same, and then individually you can use them differently. So with, let's say, a memento marker. A memento marker is awesome to go ahead and ink up a stamp. Ink it up and then stamp it down. That's what a memento marker is really great for. If you put it onto paper and then add water, it does not blend. No, it does not blend. It's because it's a dye-based ink and it wants to be stamped. Can you take a stamp and color in? Sure, if you wanted to. Let's see. If you just wanted to use it as a marker, could I do that? 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Sure, I could take my memento and I could just color in. This one's a little dark. Let's see what my yellow looks like. So if all you wanted to do was color this stamped image in, could I do that with a memento marker? Absolutely. Can I blend it with water? No. Memento markers do not blend with water. Then you have something called a clean color. And clean color markers are blendable with water, and they love water, and they love each other, and they love to be mixed and matched, and they make things happy. Can you use it as a regular marker? Absolutely. You can go in there and you can color, but clean color will also let you soften and blend a little bit by adding a little bit of water. It will move more than a memento marker. Clean color will. What's also nice about clean color is because it likes water, you can take it and you can put it directly into water. And I've taken the nib, see the nib? And it's a brush nib, so it has actual bristles to it, unlike a foam nib. And you can just let it sit in there and it's going to absorb some of that water. And the longer you let it sit, the more water it absorbs. Doesn't hurt the marker at all. Can you see that the tip has changed? It's gotten a little clear white at the top, and it will allow you to gradate, do a gradation. So if you've seen chameleon markers out there, you can do something very, 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 very similar with clean color. You just have to let it sit in the water, grab some water. The water is acting like a blending solution. People really like the look of Copics and they like the look of that coloring, but Copics can be expensive to invest in. Now I've got it even lighter because I held it in the water longer. So I start very, very light at the top and work my color down. And if you have clean color or you're looking for a marker but you don't want to get into an alcohol ink that requires a blending solution, then this is a really good opportunity for you, because not only can you do the gradation like you can with Copic or Spectrum Noir or Chameleon or some of the other alcohol markers, it doesn't require any kind of blending solution, and you're still able to just color with it. Easy peasy, and have it look beautiful. Then I have Tim Holtz Distress Markers. And Tim Holtz Distress Markers really like water. They are similar to a clean color where they enjoy working with water, but you can also color with them straight to your stamp. But then you can use water to play with them and move them and blend them. They activate with water, and that's what they are meant to do, activate with water. So they're all a little bit different, but they're all a little bit the same. And I want to show you why they're a little bit the same. And that's where having the stamps that are 3D comes in handy. The premise behind the 3D stamps was to give you images that already had some shading to it, that allows you to say, okay, this is where my dark spot is, this is where my light spot is. If you just had a feather and it was the same all over, you kind of have to think to yourself, well, where do I want my shadow, where do I want my highlight, and where do I want my midtones? What they did, what Spellbinders did with these stamps, is they gave you that. They said, oh, here's your shading for you. Here's where it's going to be darker, and then you pull your color out lighter to make a beautiful image. They took away that fear of not getting the shading proper, because they built the shading into the stamp. And that's where the three-dimensional part comes from. When you have something that has a shadow and a midtone and a highlight, you get more of a three-dimensional look to it. And that's what they've done. And they've done them so beautifully and so simple. And the price is just amazing. So I want to show you how all of these different products, the Distress ink and the clean color and the Memento and even the watercolor pencil, how they can all work together in unison. So if you have 2 or 3 Distress inks and you have 2 or 3 clean color that you've collected over the years, and you've got 2 or 3 mementos that you've collected over the years, that you can take these and use them together as if they're the same thing. You can take these, you can take your collections of colors. You don't have to worry about who manufactured it. You can take the collections of colors and use them with stamps that have already given you an idea of where the shading is. Now again, the stamps are a cling stamp. That means it has cling foam here, and they've indexed it for you. And what indexing means is they've printed the image for you so you can see the image through your clear block. This is going to cling to your block again and again and again and again. We're using the Creativity Blocks by Do Crafts, and I can't wait to show you what's coming out. This is the set. It's $12.50. It's on a YouTube Yummies. If you don't have a block set, this is a great block set because it's affordable and it gives you so many sizes. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, and we've had a tremendous amount of success with these. Our customers have absolutely loved them. So the stamps just cling on and cling off and cling on and cling off. So you use them again and again and again. You can use 1, you can use 2, you can use all 3. It's whatever makes your heart happy. This set comes with the 3, so I'm going to use the 3, but if you just needed 1, you could use just 1. And they just cling. If they stop clinging, that means that you probably have too much oils from your hands on either the back of the stamp or on your block. A little bit of Dawn dishwashing detergent, and happy day, you are good to go again. Now I'm using Memento ink. Memento ink is a dye-based ink. Are all black inks the same? No, they aren't. This is a dye-based ink that does not react to water. So I want to use this ink because if I add water to what I'm coloring, I don't have to worry about the ink smearing. It just stays. So Memento ink is our all-purpose ink here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. All Memento inks are wonderful, and we carry the whole range of them. But Memento Tuxedo Black is our go-to for just about everything we do stamping. Now I'm going to ink it up. Okay. And I ink holding my stamp this way and inking this way, as opposed to doing this. This I tend to rock, and I get it all over me. This I don't rock. So this is how I ink my stamp. I am working on a gush pad, an SMS gush pad. This is a Simply Refined gush pad. It comes a little bit larger than this, about twice the size. If you're not having much success in your stamping and you're stamping on a hard surface, you may want to try a gush pad. It's $1.99. I have one, Doris has one. Theirs is really big. We used to sell it all the time, but it was so big that I had to make one so that it would fit for shipping. So Doris's is $4.99 or $3.99. So if you're not stamping well and you're having trouble and you're getting holes in your stamp or you're missing places, try a gush pad. Because when you stamp into a gush pad, what it does is it allows that stamp to have good contact to your paper because it gives the stamp something to sink into. If you're working on a hard surface, that stamp doesn't have anything to sink into. Also, it's 1, 2, 3, ABC. We are not chest compressioning. 1, 2, 3, ABC, pull up, and there is your image. It doesn't take much. Let me do it again. It really doesn't take much. I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm going to put it down. 1, 2, 3, ABC, and I'm going to pull up, and there is my image. So a lot of you I know really want to do chest compressions, but it's not necessary. Your image is fine just the way it is. And you don't have to ink up so much. A little goes a really long way. Now, as I said, this ink does not react with water, not at all. It will stay there and not get smeary and smudgy. If you over ink and then you add water too quickly, it will smear. But that means you use too much ink. Back it off a little bit. And the best thing to do is just grab a piece of paper and practice. You're talking about paper. You've got lots of paper. Practice. And you'll see how much is too much and how much isn't enough. So I've got my stamped image right there. And now I've got all of these wonderful markers and watercolor pencils to play with. But I want to make them move. I want them to move. How am I going to do that? Well, the easiest way to make any marker that you have paint is by palette painting. Now, when I say palette painting, I'm going to be using the surface of my craft mat. This is my Simply Refined craft mat that doesn't move. See? It's a little different than the other craft mats that are out there. It's a lot thicker. It's a lot thicker, but most importantly, it does not move. It just stays where you put it, and that for me is an important thing. But all of these different inks, how are we going to make them work together? Well, we're going to palette paint. Now, if you don't have a craft mat, don't feel bad. Do you have the packaging your stamp came in? You can use that for a palette. Do you have aluminum foil, tin foil? That's what I grew up with, it was tin foil. That you can palette paint. Do you have an extra block? That anything that's non-porous can be used as your palette. Do you have a cutting plate from your Sizzix machine? Anything that's non-porous can be used as a palette because that ink is going to sit there and it's not going to absorb in, so it's not going to dry, and it's going to allow you to mix it with water and do something with it. So let's say we have our clean color. Well, no, let's take our Let's take our Tim Holtz distress marker. And I'm just going to scribble some here. Then I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to add some water to that. The more water I add, the lighter the yellow will be. And then I can come in and paint it. Now, do I want my yellow to be more intense? If I do, add more color to my water and come in and paint. Now, because these are stamps that have been shaded for you, I know that I want my darker color along the edge that has the shading, and I want my lighter color to be where there isn't any shading. So I want my darker, it tells you where your darker color is supposed to be. Follow the shading. They gave that to you. They said, here, let's make it easy peasy. And they gave you that shading to guide you without really guiding you, because it's part of the stamp. So I took my distress marker and just moved it with some water. I palette painted. Easy to do. And if I want it darker, I just come back in here, and if I want it lighter, I keep my light on the other side. Then I can come in here with my clean color, and I can do the same thing. I can scribble right down. Add some water. The more water, the lighter the color. And I'm going to put it right in there. And I always like to start off light, because you can always add more color. It's a little harder, a little tricky to get it out once it's down. You have to add a lot more water to blend that color out. So I want to keep my color pretty light, because if I don't like it, I can add more color to it. And I'm just going to blend those two together. So a little bit of yellow, a little bit of pink. Darker on one side, lighter on the other. And all I'm using is water. That's all I'm using. So let's scribble. Let's take that pink and scribble again. And let's add very little water to it. I added almost no water to it, so you can see how intense and how bright that color could be. Now, let's add a lot of water to it. And now you can see how pastel it can be. It's all up to you. You have a huge range of colors in just one pen. So if you only have one pink marker and one purple marker and one green marker and one blue marker and one red marker, that's okay. Because depending upon how much water you add to it, you've made a variety of colors. You don't have to have this huge repertoire of markers by anybody. Look at what you've got. Grab. Now this came from Baja Fresh. If you go to Baja Fresh to get your little bowls, I recommend ordering something. We always do, but that's what you put the salsa in. Some very inexpensive paint brushes. They're not the top of the line. They're not the bottom of the line. They're by the same company that makes the watercolor pencils, and they're just easy to use. So we used a clean color. We used a Tim Holtz. Now let's take and let's use a Memento. Memento typically does not work with water, but because you're palette painting, you're not putting it on paper and then trying to move it. We're palette painting. Mementos will let you palette paint. Will let you palette paint, and they'll let you move that color and make something beautiful. What if all you have are Memento markers, but you want a watercolor look? Okay, you can do it. It's right here. It's easy to do. What if all you have is a 12-pack of clean color? But you want several shades of blue. That's okay. You can do several shades of blue. It just depends upon how much water you add. Let's get a little smaller brush. A little smaller brush. And you start. Oh. You start on the area that's shaded, because that's where you want your darkest concentration of color, is on that shaded area. And then you want to lighten that color up as you come out. They've given you that clue. They've given you that little guide to help you. So when you're looking at a stamp and you say, oh, I really want to add shadows and I want to add highlights, but I don't know where they would go, Spellbinders has given you that opportunity by already putting the shading in for you. And maybe we'll add a little bit of, well, I usually always start with my yellow. Yellow is my go-to color. It blends with everything. Add a little bit of yellow in here. And it really doesn't matter whose color I have. It matters what I like. And then let's go with the pink. A little bit darker. And if you do it and you don't like it, it's okay. Right now, all I've used is paper and a stamp and some water and hopefully some pins that you already have. But what if you like the watercolor pencils? All right, same thing. You're going to go in and you're going to go a little bit heavier. Let's do the pink down below. You're going to do a little bit heavier, or even the purple. You're going to go a little bit heavier where the shadow is. So I've colored in more of my purple where the shadow is. And then I'm going to use my water and my paintbrush to pull that color out. And I think for this instance, I'm not even going to use another color. I'm just going to use this purple. And I'm going to pull that color so that you have a highlight at the top, a mid-tone, and then dark along the bottom. And all I used was one pencil. That's it. One pencil. All I did was take that one pencil, and where that shading is, come in with that pencil, I don't add very much. You've got to leave yourself white space to move it. If I were to color this whole thing orange, where would I move the paint to? I would have no place to color it in. You've got to leave yourself white negative space to move the color. Otherwise, when you pull it out, where do you pull it to? And just as quick as that, and yeah, it really is that quick. And that's just using one color. So you can do that with your markers. You can do that. Let's see if I can get a red, just one color. I'm going to start with a red. Start in there. And then I'm going to add a little water to it. And then I'm going to pull it up. And then I'm going to add a little water to it. And just finish it off at the top. All with one marker. Spellbinders has made it so easy for you. They've made it convenient for those of us who do not have an artist's eye. And that is so me. I don't have an artist's eye. I'd like to think I do. But if you ask me, well, Stacey, where is the light source supposed to be coming from? I don't know. From the sky. So they've given that to you by how they have etched the stamp. Now this one's brand spanking new, and I usually recommend that. Some people say use Versamark to clean the stamp. I use Dawn dishwashing detergent, or I stamp off a couple times, which means I'll stamp it a few times. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, no chest compressions, and up we go. So it's a little light. Let me re-ink it again. See if I get a better impression the second time. Whenever your stamps are brand new and they're not stamping like woooohooo, kachooooo, you need to kind of give your stamps an opportunity to get whatever film is on them off. I call it stamping off. You'll stamp it a couple times on some yucky paper that you don't care about. Like I said, some people do it with Versamark. So I'm going to give a good press. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Want to make sure that I've got it all over. And pull up. Oh, better. So there it was, a little light. Now it's better. And you can see where they've put the shading in for you to help you. You can see so that it makes it super, super, super simple. I could take my pencil here and go in and add a little coloring here and a little coloring here. And move that around with a little bit of water. It's a little blue, but that's okay. A little bit of water and get that colored in. And a little bit of water on this side. And just pull it right out. And you can see that my ink is not making a mess. Just a little bit of color. And then I could come on the top and I could do those. How about maybe in a little bit of a brown color so I could get my ink, get it onto my palette. And again, your palette can be anything from the packaging that your stamps came on to tin foil to a block from your Sizzix machine. Then I could come in here, just add a little bit of color here, a little bit darker down there, and then brush it out and lighten it out at the top. And then I could come in with my flower and add some yellow, get some yellow there. And just kind of do my whole inside of my flower a little yellow. And then maybe I want to add a little red to my flower. So I pick up a little red and doing the shadows. A little more red. Just kind of lay that color right down. You don't even have to stay in the lines. They just really give you an opportunity to play. And like I said, if you've got one pink marker and one green marker and one purple marker and one blue marker, it's okay. It's okay. Play with them, add some water, palette paint, and look at the variation of colors. Look at the tones that you can get, the gradation you can get throughout the whole thing. And then, if you like the look of the blue or the gray around, let's stamp this one up really quick one more time. One, two, three, ABC. Yay. I think I have a little dot on my stamp, on my Memento ink. So I've stamped it up real quick. If you like the look of the blue, so let me color this one really fast, just so it's done. Let me color one of these super fast. A little bit of yellow, because that's my go-to. Bit of yellow, a little bit of red to add some depth. Right on top of that yellow, I'm just laying it right over it, and I'm doing the red on the darker part of the stamp where the shadow is. Okay, that's good. It doesn't need to be anything much. There's my red and yellow. And then if you like the way the blue, sometimes you see people, the images, and they've got the beautiful blue all around them. Then you just take your blue marker and add a lot of water to it. And you start out about 1/8 of an inch out from your design, and you just blend it on out. People wonder all the time how they get that blue around their image. Well, we normally use Copic markers, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And I'm not adding any water, I'm just blending it all the way out. I'm just pulling it out. And now you've got that blue image around it, which also helps in the 3-dimensional. Some people prefer gray. Okay, grab one of your gray markers or grab your black marker. What is black with water? Gray. Get in there with a gray marker or your black marker. And add a whole bunch of water to it. And instead of blue, I can make a soft gray go all the way around. It really is what you want it to be. A little too much water. But people ask all the time, how do they get that look? Oh no, actually that was pretty good. I should have just gone with it. A little bit of gray around the outside, which gives it that shadowy dimensional look to it. So Spellbinders has done a beautiful job in their stamps. Did they do a beautiful job in the packaging? No, because I so did not understand what it meant by 3D. I thought 3D meant layering or popping or adding or making it 3-dimensional. But what they're talking about is even more important. They're talking about how they etched the rubber in the stamp. to give you dimension to the stamp. So it's not just a flat stamp. You know, stamps that, even mine, well, a lot of mine are etched, but even there's a lot of stamps out there, when you just stamp them, it's just a flat image. They wanted to give you something more realistic, something more to work with, and that's why they added the 3D element to it. So if you see these in your local store and you say, 3D, I don't understand, remember, it's the etching of the rubber. That's the three-dimensional aspect to it. And again, they've done a beautiful, beautiful job, and I have tons of samples. But really, one of the main things I want to tell you is that, again, you don't have to have a collection of markers from everybody. That would be an expensive thing to do. And if you do, God bless you, and share with your friends. You know, or maybe you have to collect yours 2 markers at a time. The Tim Holtz are about $3.50 a marker. The Clean Color are, I think, around that price. The Mementos, I don't remember, are probably around $3 a marker. So maybe you have 10 markers by a couple different companies. Get yourself some saran wrap. If you have a craft mat, use your craft mat. Play with the 3-dimensional stamps. Before you buy more markers, get the stamps. Your markers, do you have Stampin' Up! Markers? Blend them together. You saw me take markers and blend more than one company together. I blended more than one company. I used one from each company to do these, to make the blends, and you see how beautiful it can be. All right, I have got oodles and oodles and oodles of samples to show you. Some done by SMS, some done by Spellbinders. So let's start. See, look at how beautiful that is. And by having the rocks shaded already for you, it gave Yvette a starting point of what to color and what needed to be lighter and what needed to be darker. Same here, because the shading was already built in. Isn't this so cute? Yvette did this cart. It's so cute. It told her where the dark points are and where the light points are. So pretty. There's very little coloring on this card. This is a stamp with very little coloring, but look at how effective it is. Look at how beautiful it is. So if you need something quick and easy, this is a great way. And then use your watercolor pencils or your markers to go in there. It took more time to mat this card than it took to stamp and color this card. It took more time to add the ribbon. Just beautiful. And here's the floral. That I was playing with. And then we get into some of the fun ones. Here's cactus. And you can see the blue around the outside. Lighter in some places, heavier in others. You can see the dimension that was done. That's from the stamp. That's the stamp helping you. Saying, color me here, don't color me there. Darker over here. How beautiful is that? The crab. The crab is the stamp. It's the stamp that put that dimension there and then colored over it and brought that color out and blended that color so you have a shading, a midtone, and a highlight. That's the three-dimensional aspect to these. You didn't have to figure where that shading should stop and start. They did it for you. How gorgeous is that? Now I want to show you side by side. Same stamp, done 2 different ways. Same stamp. Lighter, more watercolory. Darker, a little richer. Which one do you like better? Because it's the exact same stamp. And if you have markers, You can do them both just from the intensity of the water that you're using. Look at there. Look at how beautiful that is. That's the stamp. They've got words, and see, there's that blue I was talking about that just kind of helps it pop a little bit as opposed to a solid white background. You want to add a little something to it, you do the blue and you wash it out, and you don't have to have Copics to do it. How pretty is this? Oh, it's popping. How beautiful is that? It's a lovely card. Again, the wash around the outside of it, just to break up a little bit of the ivory. But look at the colors. So simple to do. And you don't have to have a huge arsenal. Love this one. See, I would do watercolor pencils all down here and watercolor pencil all in here, and then I would go in with my clean color or my Tim Holtz and do that. Love that. It's beautiful. I love this one too. It says "You're sweet." And see, you've got the shading on the fruit, so you know where to start. So you know it needs to be darker here and lighter there, because the stamp tells you. This was so easy to color. I know it doesn't look that way, but trust me, it really is. Here we've got another one. Oh, this one's got the gray background. Remember how I was saying you can go around and add a little bit of gray around the back side of it? Make it pop a little bit more, give it a little more dimension. And here's a very, very soft watercolor. Again, very little coloring, a little bit of blue and a little bit of brown, and that's all that was used. This is a very easy card to make, and what a great guy card. Love this. And another one with the wreath. I think the wreath and the lighthouse are probably my favorite. So pretty. Hand lettered on the inside. And again, not a lot of coloring needed. A little pop here, a little pop there, and then all outlined in some gray to give it a little more dimension. Again, very little coloring. A little bit of brown, a little bit of pink and green, and some on the side to add the dimension. This one is very similar to what I was doing today. Very similar. With the dark and then the highlight. Just follow the shading. And I think once you do that enough, you'd be surprised how much you will understand shading. So that if you want to do it on your own, you absolutely can try. Because you'll see things in a different light. You'll see things in a different way after doing it enough. Again, watercolor pencils, super simple, super easy. All right. And last but not least, just because I think she's stinking cute. Okay, so I need to tell you, I'm going to tilt on up. I'm going to need to tell you we have a very special price on these pencil or on the stamps. Andrew doesn't know this yet at Spellbinders. But I want people to try them. I really want them to give them a try. So we're going to do them at 35% off for the YouTube Yummy. 35% off the Spellbinders stamps. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Greg. Remember, you love me dearly, right? So we're going to do 35% off on the Spellbinders stamps. We'll have the watercolor pencils on sale. I think you probably have markers, so I'm not going to do that. We'll put the blocks on sale. We'll put Memento, the black ink pad, on sale. But really what this is all about is playing with those stamps and learning and understanding that Spellbinders really tried to give you something unique and different and an element that helps. It allows you to be creative, but gives you that little help where you might not have had that before. And sitting there and looking at a stamp going, well, where do I put the shadow and where do I put the highlight? Or do I even know what a shadow or a highlight is? How the heck do I color this? Now you know. All right, it's me, Stacey, Scrapbooking Made Simple. Where are you going to find all of this great product? Scrapbookingmadesimple.com. The YouTube sale goes for about a week. I'm going to leave last week's YouTube up and the YouTube Yummies because I didn't get a chance to send out a second email. So some of you may be seeing it just for the first time. So we've got quite a bit of stuff out there for you. And again, thank you so much for all your well wishes and your prayers and your thoughts and your cards and just supporting me through this. I know that it's going to hit me like a lead balloon at some point, but I'm going to delay that point. And then when that point happens, I'm going to have tubs and tubs and tubs of ice cream ready. So from me to you, thank you very, very much. And I will see you next week. Bye.